Good afternoon. Welcome to the Hoosier Huddle Postgame show. Indiana falls to Wisconsin 45-17. David Sugarman was on the call today with me. Sammy Jacobs was on the field. Just another tough game for Indiana to lose. They were right there, almost to the start of the fourth quarter. And they just got worn down. This Wisconsin team, it's frustrating to play them. I've been telling a lot of people this. They just do everything good. They do nothing great. They just wear you down, run the ball. It seemed like they ran the same play over and over again. It's just really frustrating. What did you take away from today?
Yeah, the score not necessarily reflective of really how close the game was. It was a one-possession game going to the fourth quarter. Indiana got the ball back with about 14 minutes and change to go, trailing by just one touchdown. But really, Wisconsin flexing their muscle late in the game. Obviously, Richard Lego, who played a very good game, throws 2 interceptions late. Wisconsin capitalizes on both of them. And that was something really Tom Allen harped on in the postgame, is that Wisconsin turns Indiana over 3 times. They score every time. Indiana turns Wisconsin over once, and they do get the touchdown, but then twice in the second half, they get Wisconsin to fumble the ball, and they can't fall on either of them, and that was really one of the big deciders. And especially they had their chances, particularly trailing by just the 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor puts a ball on the ground that rolls around for quite a few seconds before Wisconsin, I think it was an offensive lineman, fell on it.
Yeah, and that was a fumble. Indiana ran to the sideline like they had recovered it and then kind of preemptively jumped the gun there. Wisconsin, scores after that. There was a phantom face mask call that pushed the ball, into field goal range, and finally they punched it in for a touchdown. But you're right, the 3 turnovers killed him. Lego throws the play. I thought he played pretty well, especially with the lack of protection that this line gave him. That was a problem all day. The 1 interception, he just got absolutely crushed on, and it affected the throw. It was short. And then the other one, he threw it a little too hard and just goes off of Luke Timian's hands. So he played well. I don't think Ramsey was able to go today. He didn't warm up that well. You saw at the end of the game when Richard Lego was warming up on the sideline, he was throwing with Nick Tronti instead of Peyton Ramsey. So, Ramsey wasn't an option for IU today. I thought Lego played pretty well. Simi Cobbs had a touchdown, a couple big catches. He drew some pass interference penalties. Probably should have drawn some more.
Yeah.
One of those right before that critical pick that puts the game away. That changes the game. A 1-score game. Guys hanging and pulling his arm all over there. I really didn't think Wisconsin could guard Cobbs all that well. But ultimately, Indiana couldn't run the ball. They lost the turnover battle and just didn't make the plays that they needed to make.
No, unfortunately, the run issues are nothing new. And really, with Richard Lego, it was almost like a 3 seconds or less, I don't want to call it rule today, but there was a lot. As soon as the ball was in his hands, he was already in his throwing motion. He knew if his first read was open, he was going for it. It was a lot of short slants or out routes or little things across the middle. And that was almost in lieu of a run play. It was almost like Tom Allen and Mike DeBoer were saying, that they don't trust they could get 3-4 yards consistently on first down. Let's get 3, 4, 5 yards, and maybe they can break a tackle. Because they didn't even try, really, pretend that we're going to have a commitment to the run today. But really, at this point, how can you blame them? The offensive line struggled. There were a lot of penalties and holding, really on both sides today. The offensive line wasn't very good, and I don't think they thought they could protect for long, and I don't think that they thought they could get enough of a push. Morgan Ellison was Indiana's best running back. I think he ended up with 17 yards on 6 or 7 carries, and of course he loses the 1 fumble on. It was a controversial call with whether the whistle was when the whistle was blown, I guess, but one way or another, it's pretty much been effective all season, short of a couple of the non-conference games.
Yeah.
So I thought they had a good game plan, but unfortunately, after they got up 10-0, really just sputtered offensively the rest of the game. That's short of 1 drive.
Yeah, they let up that Wisconsin's first touchdown. Zeke Walker bites on the run, guys wide open on the pass there. But I really thought the turning point was that Morgan Ellison fumble, where Indiana probably doesn't have great field position. I think it would have been 2nd and long there or something, but it set Wisconsin up. It was a call that everybody thought he was down. The whistle had blown. the call on the field was that he was down. And watching the replay on the stadium scoreboard, it looked like the ball may have been out, it may not have been out, his butt might have been down. You know, you don't get the audio on the replay here, but to have clear and convincing evidence, that was hard to see, and it's just, you know, it's frustrating. And we wrote about this a couple, last week, and it's been 4 weeks in a row. Outside of the Maryland game, I thought the officials did miss a lot of holding calls that game, but Indiana didn't make enough plays to win that game. But Michigan and Michigan State, you have a legitimate gripe that officials stole those games from them on the onside kick, and a couple pass interference plays against Michigan State. So it's been 4 weeks now that these officials have been just awful at their jobs, and it's so frustrating. And then they call a bench foul on Indiana that pushes Wisconsin in closer, and they end up scoring a touchdown to go ahead 14-10. And you know, they don't explain to Tom, at least according to Tom Allen, they didn't explain the foul on the bench. They didn't say who it was on, and then they said, well, you know, they didn't hear a whistle on the replay, which is hard to believe because a whistle had blown.
Right. Look, there are two sides to the coin. There's no doubt the officiating has not been particularly good in some of these games, particularly going back to the Michigan and Michigan State game. You know, we just had the discussion before. It's difficult, and I credit Tom Allen, I think, for not coming out and maybe hammering the officials. That they didn't lose this game because of the officials.
No.
There was certainly momentum in tipping points, but they didn't lose this game because of the officials, and it certainly would have been a bad look to come out and lose by 28 in first things first is the officials. But there's no doubt that they've been on the wrong end of some really bad calls, and particularly some bad games going back to, like you said, the Michigan State game. There were some really criminal calls that went the wrong way, and it's a much different, tone and a much different season right now. Of course, now that their backs are against the wall the last quarter of the season. They've done it before, going back to 2015. They started 0-6 in the Big Ten, had to win 2 in a row. They're in a similar spot. Got to win 3 in a row here if they want to go bowling again.
Yeah, anytime you lose by 28, it's more than just officials, and you kind of feel, if it was a straight up fair fight, you lose by 28, you kind of take that pill a little bit better, but it's every time with these Big Ten officials, and I get it. Wisconsin's undefeated. They're going to go to a big bowl. The Big Ten's going to get a payday. That's what it comes down to me. But another question that I had was the last 2 minutes before halftime. Indiana had Wisconsin a 3rd and long. They had all 3 timeouts left with about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. They decided not to call timeout on the 3rd down, not to call it before 4th down. Wisconsin punts. Indiana gets the ball around with about 36 seconds left. They run the ball, take it into halftime, down 14-10. I thought that was a spot where with 3 timeouts, you'd have 1 or 2 timeouts left to maybe get aggressive. And maybe that's what this team needs is if you want to knock off one of these teams, be aggressive. Take the chance. Let Lego throw it downfield. Maybe you get a field goal out of it. Maybe, you throw an incomplete pass and you end up punting. But Tom Allen said post-game that it was his call. He wanted to protect the ball. And I thought it was really too conservative. And it was really disappointing. Yeah,
there was certainly, I think, just a lack of faith in the offense. I think one of the reasons you really didn't see them go deep much at all today is they probably didn't, I think, trust the offensive line to give plays enough time to develop. The only play I can think that had a deep drop back and took longer to develop was the sweep, what was sort of a fake sweep, and then they put Devontae Williams on the other side and found him in the end zone. I think it was the first touchdown of the day. Outside of that, so that's my best guess that they didn't really trust the offense or the offensive line to let a play develop. But I agree with you. I would have liked them to see a call timeout, get the ball back with a minute left. Worst comes to worst, if it's 2nd and 10 after the shot, then they can just run the ball. So I see both sides of the coin, but I was with you. I was surprised that Tom Allen was going to be a little bit more aggressive, especially considering Wisconsin was getting the ball likely with the lead coming out of the locker room.
Yeah, definitely. And, you need to be aggressive to beat these teams, and you're not going to line up next to Wisconsin right now and just beat them into the ground like they did to IU. This has been Wisconsin football for the last 20 years. It's big, great offensive line, really good tight end. really good running backs, and a quarterback who managed the game well. And you need to you need to take a shot.
Without a doubt. I mean, you're talking about Wisconsin, sort of what they do well. They pretty much, were according to script today. Their running backs were great. Jonathan Taylor goes for over 200 yards. He was questionable coming into the day. Alec Ingold, their backup fullback, had to play a lot today because Ramish didn't make the trip. He scores 3 touchdowns. They were Groshek had a couple nice carries, and then Hornibrook, outside of the early interception, was really pretty solid. Nothing spectacular, but didn't cough up the ball again after that. So they are who we thought they were, I guess, right?
Yeah,
and,
that's always the one.
And unfortunately, like you said, it was a closer game than the scoreboard indicated. One touchdown game early in the fourth quarter, but Talma and Allen made no bones about it. The turnovers obviously hurt them early in the fourth, and now they've got we use the term must win a lot in sports, but they got 3 real must wins if they want to go bowling.
Yeah, talking about the next 3 games before we get out of here, David. They're playing at Illinois last week, who lost 29-10 to Purdue today. They get Rutgers at home following that, and they close the season, of course, with the bucket game up in West Lafayette. This team is you are what your record says you are.
Sure.
But this team has played 5 top 25 teams and lost the ball. Now they get a break. As disappointing as Maryland was, Maryland's a much better team than these 3 teams coming up. So starting next week at Illinois, this team has to refocus. We heard Chase Dutra in the post-game press conference say that he wants a bunch of dogs with him. He says anybody who's not willing to work hard, show up, and get better each and every day the next 3 weeks, he doesn't want in the facility. So he's going to be a leader that needs to step up. Rich Flego needs to step up. I think he's probably the best chance IU has to get this offense going against these teams that aren't as good as the teams they played. It's not a shot at them, it's just a fact. So very important 3 weeks. They got to take it 1 week at a time, though.
Without a doubt. I mean, 1 week at a time. Like, just coming in today, everyone, and maybe rightfully so, just wants to look forward to the next 3 weeks because those look like the winnable games. And it's difficult. A lot of people felt that they needed to get one of at Michigan State or maybe more importantly at Maryland so that they didn't have all this pressure because we didn't know it would be this bad, but that it's week 9, week 10 of the football season. There's going to be injuries. Who knows? Maybe someone gets suspended. There's all sorts of stuff that happens throughout a season. And they got to go on the road twice, so it certainly won't be easy. But like you said, I mean, yes, Illinois and Indiana share in common that they don't have a Big Ten win, but Illinois, outside of Wisconsin, I don't think has played a ranked team in the Big Ten. Rutgers, to their credit, has improved. They had 2 Big Ten wins after none last year. They're against they're against Purdue and Illinois. And Purdue, we hate to say it, Purdue's a much better football program than they were last year. Credit to Jeff Brom. It's a good chance that although the bucket game will have a lot more at stake potentially with 5 wins on each side. And really that's the game I'm the most worried about. Like you said, 1 game at a time. I feel like they should beat Illinois. I feel like they should beat Rutgers. But if Purdue has 5 wins and it's at Purdue, I think Purdue's a much improved team. I don't think Indiana's obviously going to magically get healthier. That's the game I'm honestly very concerned about right now. But like you said, 1 game at a time. They got to take down Illinois next week. Pay no mind to the orange and blue today. The Illini colors won't be wearing it next week. But 1 game at a time. Illinois next. On to Illinois next week.
Yeah, Illinois next week. Kickoffs at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. It's on Big Ten Network. We'll be live from the game. David, thanks for joining me post-game. Fans, keep coming back to HoosierHuddle.com. Follow us on Twitter at Hoosier_Huddle. We'll have the rest of the season covered, recruiting in the off-season, a lot of fun stuff in the off-season as well, and hopefully we'll get to prepare for a bowl game as well. But as David said, as we've said a lot, it's 1 game at a time. Next up is Illinois. Let's see if Indiana could go next week to Champaign and get win number 4.